December 11, 1978, John F. Kennedy International Airport. At 3:12 in the morning, six masked men slip into a cargo terminal. They know exactly where to go, and they move in complete silence. Look at this chart of historical American robberies. In 64 minutes, they took $5.8 million. As the money vanished into the underworld, the people who touched it vanished too. A bloodless heist was soon eclipsed by a massive body count. Understanding how that score turned into a massacre requires looking at how New York City operated in 1978. 5 Italian-American crime families divided the city into distinct territories, functioning like a massive, deeply entrenched business consortium. Jimmy Burke, known as Jimmy the Gent, sat at the edge of that power structure. Because his bloodline was entirely Irish, strict Mafia rules permanently barred him from ever becoming a made man. Without the institutional protection of a formal title, Burke operated with a dangerous duality. He overcompensated with intensely methodical planning, then maintained his authority through an absolute willingness to use extreme violence the second he felt threatened. The entire operation started with a mid-level airport bureaucrat. Louis Werner was a pudgy JFK cargo supervisor, drowning in a secret $20,000 gambling debt to a local bookie. Werner offered a trade to clear his ledger. As a supervisor, he knew exactly how millions of dollars in untraceable foreign currency arrived on these 747s, often sitting overnight in a highly vulnerable vault. That tip moved up the chain rapidly. Werner told his bookie. The bookie told Henry Hill, who brought it to Jimmy Burke. Burke spent weeks rigidly drilling his crew for the job. He even paid off a capo in the Bonanno family, securing explicit authorization to operate on their protected airport territory. Louis Werner's private desperation, a losing streak, and a $20,000 debt became the accidental catalyst for the largest cash robbery in the country. The execution was clinical. The 6 men spent exactly 64 minutes inside Building 261. They subdued the guards smoothly, took the keys, and packed duffel bags with cash, all without drawing a drop of blood. They hauled dozens of heavily loaded bags out to a waiting black Ford Econoline van, tossing the untraceable bills and jewelry into the back under the cover of pre-dawn darkness. Following Burke's strict protocol, the crew dispersed immediately. Before the police could even begin to organize a response, the men scattered like ghosts into the New York boroughs. At that exact moment, Burke's crew had achieved the impossible: maximum financial payout with 0 casualties and absolutely 0 evidence left behind. There was only one step left in the plan. A crew member named Stax Edwards had strict orders to drive the getaway van to New Jersey and immediately run it through an auto crusher. Edwards deviated. He drove to his girlfriend's apartment in Brooklyn, got high on cocaine, he fell asleep, and left the van parked illegally right in front of a fire hydrant. 2 days later, a patrol officer noticed the parking violation. The plates came back stolen, and when evidence technicians processed the interior, they found Edwards' fingerprints. Because Edwards was a known associate of Burke's, the FBI instantly knew where to look. They launched a massive surveillance operation, blanketing Burke's headquarters with helicopters and wiretaps. A single careless parking violation shattered the illusion of the perfect crime, instantly transforming a traceless masterstroke into a massive paper trail pointing directly at Jimmy Burke. Facing a suffocating FBI net, Burke evaluated the situation with cold rationality. Every accomplice was a potential life sentence. To him, a cheap bullet was much safer than paying out a $500,000 cut to a man who might talk to save himself. His first target was obvious. 7 days after the robbery, 2 hitmen found Stax Edwards in his apartment and shot him point blank while he was eating a piece of chicken. This flowchart maps the original crew, showing Burke's brutal paranoia. He systematically ordered the executions of his accomplices to sever every tie. Burke's purge transformed his crew into murder victims, ensuring their only payout was a shallow grave. Burke's massacre created a strange legal reality. Because nearly every witness was dead or missing, the FBI had no one left to testify against him. The only person ever convicted for the heist itself was Louis Werner, the inside man who provided the tip. By 1980, mob associate Henry Hill realized he was likely next on Burke's hit list. To save his own life, he flipped, agreeing to cooperate with the federal government. Hill's testimony dismantled the local Lucchese crew, sending the bosses to prison. Jimmy Burke eventually died behind bars, serving a life sentence for an entirely unrelated murder. The legal ghost of the heist lingered for decades. In 2014, an aging mob capo named Vincent Asaro was tried for his alleged role in the robbery, only to be acquitted. The heist produced no wealthy retired gangsters, only a trail of murder victims and decades of failed prosecutions. It remains a study in the self-destructive nature of the mob, where the only thing more dangerous than failing a boss was succeeding for one.